Welcome to Biology My Passion. I am Soumya Harikrishna. Now we are learning the chapter Evolution. So in the first video, we discussed the origin of universe, earth, theories on origin of life, chemical evolution and Urey-Miller experiment. In this video, we are starting with the discussion on evidences of organic evolution. Before going into that, the term evolution was coined by a scientist called Herbert Spencer. What is the word meaning of evolution? Evolution means to unfold, means we are actually unfolding the history of life, or it is a process of continuous change. It is not stopping, it's still going on, but the changes are occurring. It's not going on in a steady state, but changes are occurring or it is unfolding. But when we come to the type of evolution, there can be inorganic evolution as well as organic evolution. So the elements changing with the time, because we know elements or non-living substances are also undergoing changes. So these elements change with the time. That is referred to as inorganic evolution. Whereas living forms change with the time. That is called the organic evolution. The theories of organic evolution was put forward by Charles Darwin. We are all familiar with Charles Darwin because whenever we hear the word evolution, we don't think about anyone other than Charles Darwin, right? So Charles Darwin proposed actually organic evolution. According to him, evolution is descent with modification. That means organisms are forming from other organisms but with certain modifications. Then how did he come to all these observations or his conclusion about natural selection? It was after his voyage in a ship called HMS Beagle, which lasted for 5 years. It started from England in 1831 and returned in 1836. The voyage was mainly to Galapagos Island in South America, where he observed different life forms. And he came to different conclusions also. Mainly he came to the final conclusion of natural selection. But that time he was not very sure about his theory. His contemporary was another English biologist, Alfred Wallace. He also had done certain voyages to different parts including Malay Archipelago, where he observed different life forms and he got an insight that it is because of natural selection. Actually, his work or his words prompted Darwin to publish his book Origin of Species. So initial publication was with both of their names together because natural selection was also proposed by Alfred Wallace. After his voyage, Charles Darwin made a very remarkable observation. That is, all the existing living organisms share similarities to varying degrees, not only among themselves but also with the organisms lived in the past. That means nowadays which all organisms are existing, we have a lot of common characters to adapt to this particular climatic condition, right, or our environment. But at the same time, we all have a very close similarity or we share certain similarities with the organisms existed in the past. That means we all had a common ancestor. Animals undergo variation for forming some features or characteristics. These features or characteristics help animals to adapt or organisms to adapt to the changing environment. So such organisms are referred to as reproductively fit organism by Charles Darwin. According to him, the organisms which can adapt better to the existing environment leave more progeny, or they are surviving or they will be surviving in this earth, outbreeding the ones which are not able to adapt to the environment. So this is nothing but the essence of natural selection. We know organisms are evolving with a very definite structure. In the previous video we learned how the unicellular organisms like prokaryotes and eukaryotes formed. From the eukaryotes, then slowly multicellular organisms started developing. That also not the complex ones, very simple ones. Then the multicellular organisms became two types, plants as well as animals. In plants, first seedless form developed, then later seed formed or the angiosperms and gymnosperms originated. The same way in case of animals, first started with invertebrates, Then vertebrates, that also from fish. Then they modified into amphibians. They became reptiles. From reptiles, birds formed, and later mammals also formed. So this was a structured, organized evolution happened. So in this topic, we are mainly going to discuss the evidences of evolution. So there are many evidences that leads to evolution. The first and the foremost is paleontological evidence or the fossil evidence. We know fossil means what? The preserved traces of organisms lived in the past. We may not get the entire organism, but we may get some traces of it, or at least the shape of it. Something related to this organism is available. So that's called a fossil. So that study of fossils is called a paleontology. So father of paleontology is Leonardo da Vinci. And age of fossil, suppose you get a fossil, you can get a lot of information from that fossil. You can identify the structure of the organism. If you get to know the structure of the organism and modifications it had, we will get an idea about the surrounding or the environment in which it lived, how old the fossil is, or how is it related to the other organisms lived at that time, or how is it related to the present day organisms. So many things we come to know about the organism and the other conditions through fossils. But it's not very easy to study fossil all the time. So we are adopting two methods to study fossils. First is called a relative method, second is absolute method. A relative means what? We are approximate idea only we are getting. It's not absolute, but relative means with respect to something we are just assessing or evaluating something. Okay. For example, so these are different strata of a soil where we are getting fossils. Suppose we are digging down, the deepest strata I am getting a fossil called A. Then above that B, C, D, E. So when you are seeing this strata on different fossils obtained from this strata, we can easily say that which is oldest and which is the newly formed one. According to which will be the oldest? Yes, A will be the oldest, right? Because it is in the lowest strata. Then formed B, then C, like that. And also we can see the correlation between these two, how the conditions have changed, all this. So it is called a relative study. We are comparing a fossil that we obtained with the existing organism or already received fossils and estimating the age and other factors. Whereas second is absolute. Here we are getting more or less very accurate information about the date of or the age of the fossil. This is done by dating method. Usually we use the radioactive isotope dating for this. Sometimes we use uranium lead dating, but the most common type is carbon dating. By seeing the radioactive isotope of carbon, that is C14, and it has got a half-life period, that is C14 will turn into N14 after its half-life period, that is 5568. So if you get any part of the fossil, if you find out what is the percentage of carbon isotope present in that, you can, using this half-life period, you can estimate the age of that fossil. That is called a absolute dating. Fossils can be of different types. So there can be actual remains. Actual remains means if some animal or plant happens to get embedded inside the permafrost of a Arctic or alpine region. That means if they happen to get trapped inside ice, they will be preserved as such without any damage. Both internal and external structures will be preserved together. A typical example is a woolly mammoth we got from Siberia, which was actually 25,000-year-old animal. So second is called a petrification. Petrification is actually forming in sedimentary rocks, because we know sedimentary rocks are formed by sediments over a period of time. So if any organism happens to get in between the sediments, it will get fossilized there. So this is the most common type. In this what happens is slowly the organic part will be replaced by mineral parts. Now these three are almost same: compression, incrustation, mold or cast. Here all these cases mainly we get only the external structure. Sometimes we get a mold or a cast, very hard structure, of replacing the external feature completely, or most of the time the internal organs are not available. Then comes impressions. Impression means what? On the surface of rock or on hard surfaces, we get the impression of that particular animal. So like that we have got for Archaeopteryx, which is a connecting link between birds and reptiles. Then next is palinofossils. Palino means it's a study, the fossil evidences of spores and pollen grains like microscopic structures. Usually we learn palynology. Palynology is the study of pollen grains. And we also know pollen grains are made up of sporopollenin. Because of that, they are well preserved as fossils. And last is coprolites. So if you study fossils, whatever be the type of fossil, we get an idea that all living forms that exist now share a common ancestor. But were they present at the same time, one particular ancestor? No. Ancestral history goes back. Along with that, what is also changing? The time scale is also changing. There is a statement in your textbook, geological history of Earth closely correlates with the biological history of Earth. The different sequences through which Earth has passed over a millions of years of time, that has been set as a table that is called the geological time scale. So the geological time scale is shown here. Geological time scale is divided into major eons and 4 major eras. So the eons are Cryptozoic and Phanerozoic, whereas the 4 eras are Precambrian, Paleozoic, Mesozoic, Cenozoic. Starting from beginning, we are always telling that is Precambrian, Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and the present condition is Cenozoic. Each era is again divided into different periods. Each period is again divided into different epochs. Let us see one by one. So the first one we are discussing is Precambrian. So starting from oldest to newest, Precambrian divided into 3 periods: Proterozoic, Archaeozoic and Azoic. In the Proterozoic, ancient life form started. Now let us look at the Paleozoic. Paleozoic has been divided into different periods like Cambrian, Ordovician, Silurian, Devonian, Carboniferous and Permian. Of this, Cambrian is marked for the origin of invertebrates, lower invertebrates like trilobites. Ordovician and Silurian gave birth to the higher invertebrates, and also vertebrates started forming. Devonian was the period of fishes, and from fish what formed? Amphibians. Like fishes slowly came to the shore, adapted to live the air on the land, and they used to walk with a stout tail also. There is a mentioning in your NCERT. So that was the formation of amphibians slowly from water to land, right? But they would go back to water after some time. That was during Carboniferous and Permian. Carboniferous is the period of fossil fuel formation, because ferns also dominated that time. We know ferns got buried under the ocean, and they formed the petroleum. Next era was Mesozoic. It has 3 periods: the Triassic, Jurassic and Cretaceous. Jurassic, we are all familiar with Jurassic World, right? Movie. Right. Jurassic is the world or the time of our dinosaurs. It was the golden age of dinosaurs. Then later, around 65 million years ago, all of them got wiped off from the surface of Earth. And it is also known as the time of gymnosperms. That time the predominant plants were gymnosperms. So there is a small chart in your NCERT textbook depicting the different types of dinosaurs: Brachiosaurus, Stegosaurus, Triceratops. They are all herbivores, whereas Tyrannosaurus rex was the largest and the prominent one, which was carnivorous. But you can see these 2 lines of evolution which are showing the evolution of different dinosaurs. But in the central line you can see other organisms developed during that time. One is the Archaeopteryx. As I mentioned, Archaeopteryx had both the features of dinosaurs and birds. That's what we believe, that most of the dinosaurs originated into birds, or they transformed into birds. That's why they disappeared. That is one of the theories. There are many theories telling their disappearance. A meteorite hit was there, killing all of them, or they starved because of lack of food, because they needed large amount of food at a time. All these theories are there, but we still do not know what is the actual one. But we believe that most of them transformed into birds. That connecting link is called the Archaeopteryx. You can see crocodilians, which are the primitive crocodiles, and also Pteranodon. Okay, so these also evolved along with the dinosaurs, but we know crocodiles are still existing. Today we discuss the paleontological evidence of evolution. So next videos we will be discussing other evidences of organic evolution. Hope you like my videos. If so, please like, share and subscribe to my channel Biology My Passion.